Hallelujah! A huge victory today for fans of school choice. Thank you, SCOTUS. The Supreme Court ruling 6-3 that a Maine tuition assistance program violates the First Amendment. Here's a little bit of backstory. The program has been giving public aid to students who don't have a local public school so they can go to private schools. The only caveat, the funds couldn't be used for religious teaching. The court today shot that down, saying it unfairly excludes eligible schools. But liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor gave a blistering dissent, writing, quote, "This court continues to dismantle the wall of separation between church and state that the framers fought to build," end quote. Does she just hate school choice? Because I think it's pretty great. Let's get into it with tonight's party panel. We've got the host of the Versus Media podcast. He's a contributing editor at The Spectator, Stephen L. Miller. Yes. We've got the host of the Aggressive Progressive podcast. He used to be an aide to Senator Chuck Schumer, but Chuck got too hip for him. Christopher Hahn in the house. We've got author and contributor at The Hill, Kristen Tate is back. Welcome, everyone. So, Stephen, Corey DeAngelis sent me some tweets this morning that this is a huge victory for school choice. There are many atheists in the school choice movement who celebrate this ruling. Why?
That's because the progressive left and Sonia Sotomayor want you to think that this is only like kooky fringe conservative Catholics who are going to be the beneficiaries of this ruling, when in fact there's already 4,000 students in Maine, roughly about 4,000 students in Maine that use this program, and then there's others that were prevented from using this program because of the way the tuition program was initiated. So this also affects Jewish academies, Muslim parochial schools, all faiths. There was a big thing today where progressives on Twitter were saying, "Oh, I guess you guys are going to be okay with the Church of Satan getting school funds," and we were like, "Yeah, hell yeah, that would be awesome. Imagine the uniforms and the mascot." It's free speech for everybody, and what Sonia Sotomayor apparently doesn't understand.
Duke approves.
Yeah,
North Carolina,
the goats. Yeah, the goats, or the cheer squads. Imagine it.
Woo.
And what Sonia Sotomayor apparently doesn't understand is that a state imposing speech restrictions is actually a violation of church and state. That's the state imposing a religious restriction. And so I don't know. She's going to be giving a lot of dissent opinions here for the next 30, 40 years.
Yes, and it was actually the state holding money back from parents.
Right.
So, Chris, it's interesting because Frank Zappa, God rest his soul, started the Church of American Secular Humanism as an atheist, so also known as Cash. And they could have opened a school in Maine and gotten public funding for kids who didn't have local public schools. So I really think that this decision satisfies all parties.
So, I read the decision and I read the law. And frankly, Maine, if they want to exclude certain parochial schools, they could do that, according to this opinion. They just did not do that in the law that was before the Supreme Court. They could set restrictions and guidelines. They can't openly do it about religion, but they could set public standards that all other schools in Maine have to comply with. This bill pays for public tuition for people who don't have a high school to go to in Maine. It's actually a pretty good use of public funds, I think, to do that. So I read the opinion. Look, this is not the wall of church and state that I would die on. I do think the court has been weakening that wall between church and state. I don't know that this is the opinion to go crazy about, because it did send it back. It did give the state the challenge to change their law.
Yes, and Maine will probably take that up. It's a nutty place. I don't know if they're necessarily patriotic. We'll get into that in just a moment. But why is school choice still a four-letter word to so many progressives, Kristen?
I think we need universal school choice for everyone. I mean, all parents in every income bracket deserve to have the choice about where to send their kids to school, just the way that, high-earning parents have. It's ridiculous. And this doesn't dismantle the separation between church and state, because we're talking about private citizens deciding where money for their children goes. If public schools in Maine were demanding that kids learn and practice different religions like Christianity or Islam, obviously that would be wrong, but that's not what we're talking about here. And, you know, these lefties, they keep forgetting that the Constitution provides for freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. I mean, every parent has the right to pull their kids out of these failing public schools that are producing pathetic results and put them into a more religious-based school that also teaches arithmetic, science, social studies, English, and maybe a bit of morality. We need more school choice.
We need civics and we need math. You know, every time my girls come home and complain about their schools, I'm like, when did schools stop teaching math? Like, math is great. Make it exciting and awesome. Enough of the cultural distractions. My God, you're just going to have a zombie nation of entitled, like, I don't know, my body. It's like, learn the Pythagorean theorem.
Math sounds racist to me.
Math is not. Math doesn't care anything about you. Math doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about how you look or what kind of gametes you have. Math can give a fudge bucket. Speaking of big wins for America, we love patriotism here on the SS Cannondale, and I'm proud to say I love the stars and stripes from the halls of Montezuma. Anchors away, my boys, and the caissons go rolling along. A new study lays out which states are feeling it the most. Wallet Hub measured categories, including how many vets live in the area, volunteerism, voters, and more. Here's what they came up with. Alaska, of all places, comes out on top, followed by Montana, maybe. Virginia, nope. North Dakota, and Oregon, come on, man. And I'm from there. Rounding out the bottom, Massachusetts, no. Everywhere outside of Boston, they have a lot of flags. Florida, they love the United States in Florida. What are you, nuts? Rhode Island, too small to be patriotic. New York, they don't like it here. And Arkansas, I don't think that is true for a second. Indiana also made the bottom 10. That is probably the most patriotic state in the union. I could not believe that. What say you, Stephen L. Miller?
In defense of Florida, putting aside that Florida has the most unpatriotic hockey team in the Tampa Bay Lightning in the entire country.
Horrible team.
I mean, people don't really go to the poll sites like volunteerism, so like the Peace Corps and people who live in there. And people don't really go to Florida to work or volunteer. They go to Florida to retire and for the weather and to party. And what can really be more patriotic than that? No,
that's in all things combined. I think that is incredibly aspirational. What a country that produces a place where people like to party in thongs and they like to retire and, gum breakfast cereal. I think it's fantastic. So what stood out to you on this list,
seriously,
Chris?
though, go Avalanche.
Yeah, I'm fine with if the Avalanche wins. I'm delighted. I love to see it. Tampa Bay, eat rocks and glass. Okay, Chris, go ahead. Come on, Chris.
It's too hot to volunteer in Florida. That's why they don't get the big volunteer numbers. But I completely disagree with this list. It's like any other clickbait list on the internet.
Yeah.
Give me a break. New York's a very patriotic state. Massachusetts. I just got back from Massachusetts. I ran in the park where the first battle of the Revolution happened. How much more patriotic could it be? I live 2 miles from the Setauket Spyring House here on Long Island. There's a lot of patriotism and reflection of the history of this great country in New York and in every state in the country. And to try to rank them, it's really like deciding what flavor of ice cream's the best. They're all good.
Yeah,
some are just more active than others.
Portland has just tarnished the great state of Oregon. And shame on you, Antifa. You are all stinky. I don't want you to be a part of anything because you hate every system, including the flag. Kristen, your thoughts. You've lived in a few places.
Yeah, I think this study is dumb because it has silly metrics. I love my country. I consider myself patriotic, but I've never served on a grand jury. I've never been asked to do that. I think a lot of patriots volunteer, but they don't go around bragging about it or even think twice about it. I think serving in the military service is actually a pretty good measure of patriotism, and Florida did rank pretty well on that one metric. But as the fellow panelist earlier mentioned, a lot of elderly people people are in Florida, so a huge portion of that state, they're sitting around in nursing homes eating applesauce. They're not going out and volunteering with AmeriCorps.
Oh my gosh, you know what they're doing in
houses for
nursing homes? This is what they're doing in nursing homes, like a lot of it.
Watching the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Yeah, watching them lose,
Stop.
and then they go back to their bunk and like, chicka brow brow, I still got it.
Exactly.
I
The
might
Tampa Bay
break your
Lightning is in
We don't
hand.
need to be thinking about that.
No, that's all they think about. But Alaska, I will tell you this. I went to Alaska, and they have so many beautiful bald eagles there that they're almost like pests. And that's a very patriotic bird, so I'll give them that. Stephen, Kristen, thank you. Thank you.